It's already recording.
It is, yeah.
Record on this computer. That's the part I need to do, though.
Okay.
Yeah, I record to my own external hard drive here, which actually keeps a nice small file. The one that goes to cloud is really large. And then I turn on broadcast. And we should be broadcasting. And then I just wait for it to show up, and there it shows up. And there we are. So it's actually live now to the air. So take us away.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. My name is Vishal. I'm a real estate entrepreneur and mentor and coach with Teammate Real Estate. We are so glad that you could come and join us tonight as we have a great session planned for you. I must say, wow, this last month has had so much going on in the real estate industry. There's been new mortgage rules, interest rate changes. We can have sales data from the COVID period. We are all learning and growing as a team in the real estate environment is changing rapidly right before our eyes. So tonight, there's going to be no handshakes and no hugs, but we will be able to still offer you invaluable content that will help you level up and achieve your personal mission. Now, whether your personal mission is to buy 5 rental properties in 2 years or to make $100K your first year flipping, we are here to propel your growth and to provide the guidance. So as we say, teamwork makes the dream work. So at any time tonight, please feel free to enter your questions in the Q&A section of the chat. Vern is monitoring that chat and he'll be responding back to you as the questions are asked. So for tonight, our agenda is we're going to hear from Dan Posner, who is a trusted financial. Dan will give us some details about alternative lending solutions, which basically are some funding options that we have other than the banks. So Dan offers a wealth of knowledge and is a trusted professional in the industry. So who are we? Just a couple things to say about us about our academy. As I can see from online, we have some new viewers tonight. So as some of you may know, we are the largest and only free real estate investing club in Manitoba. We are in the United States of America as well, and we have over 100 students. So we are a whole bunch of like-minded individuals, from someone who has never done a real estate deal before, and they're curious and want to learn more, to people who love their full-time job and just want to secure a better life through real estate investing, all the way to legends like Vern, who's been doing this for over 50 years and doing real estate all over North America and offer a wealth of generational knowledge. Do you want to go to the next slide for me, please? Thanks. So Teammate Real Estate. So what we do is we have free monthly events, typically on the last Monday of each month. We also do workshops. Some of the topics that we've included are BRRRR, which stands for how to buy, renovate, rent, refinance, and repeat. We've done rent to own options, raising capital, and buy and hold strategy. Again, if you're a teammate student, these workshops are free to you. So networking is key. And at all of our events, you'll usually find a few realtors, some mortgage brokers, funding partners, lawyers, and accountants. So I suggest to use these events to really build up your power team. Now, I can't stress enough how important your power team really is. And the cold truth is you're only as strong as your weakest player on the team. So this is a good chance to build up a power team. At our events, you can also find deals, joint venture partners, and I think I mentioned funding partners. So what our academy is, as you can see on the screen here, is you can think of it like a post-secondary education program where we offer different levels of education. So some can benchmark them against a bachelor's, master's, and even a PhD level of training. The great thing about our program is you get a return on your money in months rather than years. So traditionally, when you go to university, you spend 3 to 4 years. You study for those 3 to 4 years. you rack up some debt, 30 to 50K, and then you graduate and seek a job. Whereas with real estate investing in the academy, you start to see results in a matter of months and even weeks. So we offer not only the academics of real estate, but as well as the hand-holding field training. What I mean by that latter part is really in the sense that we walk in and out of homes with you, dumping our knowledge of experience and mistakes that you don't need to make that others have already made. So essentially, you're starting with a competitive advantage and you're light years ahead. That's one thing I love about real estate is that you can see immediate results. You can force appreciation and realize returns in real time. Another aspect about the academy that I'm passionate about is our deal done assurance. Now, this assurance is basically saying, if you work with us, we guarantee that you'll get your deal done. And when you get your deal done, you therefore will get your initial investment back, which is a pretty sweet deal if you ask me. We are also a lifetime membership, which means no annual fees. It's not a catch and release. We offer one-on-one mentorship, which includes the academics and the field training. So this is a form here that we typically fill out. And what you can do if you're interested in finding about more of the academy is put your name and email down and maybe what kind of investing strategy that you're interested in. And if you don't know, that's cool. We can figure that out what best works for your skill set and where you are in your life. But what we offer is let's go one step back there. What we offer is a free strategy session to really help you determine your goals and how to achieve those goals. I just want to stress on these strategy sessions that there's absolutely no pressure. You meet with us, you pick our brain, get what you need in order to succeed. Let's jump over one more. So I like this picture a lot. The people who never reach their full potential, I believe, are the ones that use the phrase, I can't do that. I must admit, I was one of those early on in my career, but I'm grateful to the circle that I have for getting me out of that kind of mindset. So I surround myself with people that have done what I wanted to achieve so that I could learn from them. The ones that are successful in their life are the ones that say, how can I do that? So successful individuals are problem solvers. When they see an obstacle, they say, how can I? Not, I can't. So when you continuously say, I can't, what you've done is you've conditioned your brain to really give up. So you've capped your success. You've capped your income. You've capped your knowledge. So if you take a picture, this picture here on the screen, this woman is lifting 3 times her weight. How did she do it? I bet you she was disciplined. She got a personal trainer or coach. She trained. She dieted. She was focused. I can tell you for sure she wasn't born being able to lift that weight, but she trained towards it. She decided she wanted to do it and worked towards that end result. It's so much easier to say, I can't lift that weight. That's not what she did. In fact, she said, how can I? Let's skip over one more, Keith. So many people ask me why I invest in real estate. So I've been investing for about 10 years now. I started when I was 18. And I must say, I love the flexibility and the freedom of investing in real estate. When I invest in real estate, I get to choose when I want to work. I get to pick on the projects I want to work on. I get to pick who I work with. So having all these options really puts me in control of my business. And when I'm in control, that holds me accountable and responsible to the results. And that's what I really look for. Opportunities where I can personally make an impact or a difference in the community. So because I have the freedom in my work schedule, I also have the freedom in my fun schedule. So I get to travel where I want, when I want, with really who I want. So I had the opportunity to travel to 26 countries, and I've lived in Switzerland where I studied finance at the University of Zurich. It's my goal to really travel to 30 countries before I turn 30. So if you take a look at the top left picture, that's actually me at the Taj Mahal in India. I went last year. And the picture below me was on the flight to India. So the flight to India was 14 hours. So I decided to get myself a first class plane ticket. And there I learned that the bed actually turns into a massaging bed. I thought that was a wonder of the world itself. Um, Again, the flexibility just to hike in the Swiss Alps there. In the bottom one's the Swiss Alps. The top one there, that's BC. Just spending time in the lake. That's why I choose to invest. That fuels my passion. So we have a bunch of sponsors I want to give a shout out to. Now, these sponsors give us great services at great prices. And I think they definitely recognize the value that investors bring to the community, and hence the reason why they sponsor our events. So the first sponsor I have is Daryl Walsh, who is our favorite realtor from Royal LePage here at Teammate Real Estate. Second is Jazz Sani. So if you're in need of an accountant who is experienced with the type of business that we do as real estate investors, please don't hesitate to reach out to him. Next is Daniel Lemke. Now he builds websites with a different pay structure. It's more of a modern pay structure, I call it. So in the sense that typically when you get a website, you pay for it, and then you pay monthly for it. Whereas when you work with Daniel, he builds you that website for free. And it makes sure it fits your needs and your goals. And then once you're happy with it, then it's a monthly subscription basis. We also have Christian Narcisco with visual media, which is great for social media and live photos. We have Garrett Wong from Upper Edge Property Management. Now, Garrett is known for his 2-minute videos. Feel free to check those out all over social media, as well as he loves giving free advice. Feel free to call him for no pressure market rent valuations. We have Ray Penner from Ray Penner Photography. I've seen some of Ray's work, as well as he's been doing some drone shots. Give him a call if you're interested in having some drone videos taken of your properties. As well as we have Brendan Mahatu. He's an experienced real estate lawyer. Here again, don't hesitate to send your offers to purchase to Brendan to review for lawyer's approval to ensure you're getting what you bargained for. Next, we have Alvin Bally with Caesarstone and Dulux Paints. So what Alvin does is he makes sure that you're getting the right product he makes sure you're getting the right price, but he also makes sure you're getting the right product, which is just as important as getting the right price on it. Lastly, we have Dan Posner with Trusted Financial, who we'll be hearing from later on in the evening talking about financing. So typically now we jump into seeing the market update from Daryl. But Daryl's out selling houses tonight, and he's handed over his crystal ball over to Keith. So Keith, why don't you take it from here and tell us what's in that crystal ball and give us some of that COVID data now of the real estate transactions.
Thank you very kindly. So I'm going to pretend to be Daryl Walsh, and I'm going to get into the June Realtor Report. So Daryl out selling houses tonight. So, of course, COVID and all that sort of thing has been much on everyone's mind, and what is actually going to happen. So there was specifically a statement made by the real estate board here that June is actually taking a step forward towards getting the year-to-date sales back to last year's total. And we can all read here that in June, we increased by 24% over that same month in 2019 and 15% over the 5-year June average. So that's actually a really good June. There's been some pent-up demand apparently. And the monthly sales now total just fewer than 1,900. And that exceeds the record that was set in May of 2019. So year-to-date sales midway through the year are 6779, and we're just 44 units behind the same period in 2019. So we've actually managed to catch up from the from the sort of slowdown that occurred with the major part of the lockdown. Of course, our sales recovery, which began in the second half of May, confirms Manitobans are now feeling confident about transacting in the Winnipeg market. And the president of Winnipeg Real Estate Association gave credit to all Manitobans for doing their part, following the distancing protocols, and a special note of thanks to the essential workers. So really good to hear. People are talking about, well, oh, is this bad for the market? Is this a bad time to be in real estate? Should I be waiting? The answer is no, you shouldn't be waiting. So right here we've got our residential detached. So those are single family homes, for those of you that don't speak the vernacular there. So residential detached in June, the average sale price is $340,000 for a 1,363 square foot home versus the year to date. So we're actually creeping up in price. So 340, 328. So year to date, prices are actually going up now as we get into sort of what I want to call the heat of the market as temperatures rise. Residential attached. So this is more of your townhouse style. They are a little bit smaller on average, about 150 square feet smaller, selling for $254 in June, which is actually down just a little bit, about $10,000 less than the average. But the homes are also going down about an extra 50 square feet less in June over the year to date. In the condos, average condo size, again, a little bit smaller now than either the attached or the detached. They're a little bit smaller, and their price is $279. The slide for June is actually missing from the slideshow I got from Daryl, so we only know what the year to date is. We don't have our actual June numbers for condos. Now, if we look here at the pie, this is more of interest for folks who are, say, someone who is flipping. And you might say, well, why do I need to know what this pie chart is saying? This is showing what percentage of the marketplace is selling at what price point. So this is actually going to be very important to someone who's flipping. If you're looking to get into, and I think with my mouse being shared, yeah, I can actually move stuff around and point. So you can see that there's really not a lot of action happening below 150,000. There's not a lot of houses that sell there. Might be a great place to pick up a house if you were going to keep it for yourself for a rental. But if you were looking to flip, again, you get up to now we're almost 11% in that 200 to 250 range. But these really big chunks of the pie, 16 and a half, 15, they're occurring between 250 and 400,000, right? So this represents almost half the marketplace, and yet it's a fairly narrow spread. It's only a spread of 150,000. So if you're flipping houses, the really good sweet spot of the market, half the marketplace exists with properties that sell between $250,000 and $400,000. So those are going to be your meat and potatoes. That's where your bulk of your home sales are occurring. So sure, you can go up there and you can do a high-end flip in that 500 to 750,000 range, but remember that you're only looking at 8% of the marketplace. And not just that, but as you get to smaller numbers of people in the marketplace, you're also going to look at more days on market. So if you're doing a flip with private money, which Dan will later talk about, and you're paying a higher interest rate, you might want to consider, take that into consideration, that you're going to have a lot more holding cost. If you're in these segments, they're smaller because you're just going to have less buyers, and less buyers is going to mean simply more days on the market in all likelihood. And Dan was asking if you could actually get a copy of that graph. I'm like, sure, I will send that to you as soon as we're done. All right, so let's go to the next one here. So here's where we've actually got our look at the overall market. So you can see that the unit change for residential detached, our single family homes, has actually gone up 25% in June. So that's actually a really, really good jump from 2019 to 2020. 13% for condominiums, which is still, substantial. Now our single attached has gone down 14%, but if we actually look at the unit volume as well, you can just see that they're quite small numbers of townhouses that are changing hands. So it doesn't take a lot of units to actually affect that. I mean, we're looking at it's a tiny fraction compared to our single family homes, right? So it's maybe not as significant. It's not something to panic about if you're looking to do a deal with an attached home. And duplexes, again, the sales numbers, they're quite small, a 25% unit change. Well, that's actually only 3 units. So again, less to actually be concerned with there. The really significant number is to see that detached market is actually behaving very strongly now, despite the COVID. So that's all from Daryl Walsh. He's actually out selling a house, not jumping in his pool or having a barbecue, but I'm sure he was doing that on the weekend. So now we're going to switch over to Garrett, and he's going to talk about some student success stories. So take it away.
All right, thank you, Keith, and hello, teammate family. It's so good to have you guys all here with us tonight. And before we get into our main presentation, I really just wanted to take some time and to share some recent student success stories that we had. And so you can see there is a picture of me and all of my awesome students. These guys are all rock stars, and I have to tell you, it has been such a pleasure getting to work with such great people. So here you can see is a picture at actually one of our rentals that we purchased is a duplex in East Kildonan. And so that is actually part of the training that you get with Teammate is you have field days. And what's really great is that the first part to any type of learning really is the theory behind it. And, you know, you look at numbers, you look at spreadsheets, you look at PDFs and Word documents of information, but that's only 50% of the learning. The next 50% is getting in there, getting your hands dirty. And that's what we did. We spent a good couple hours on a Saturday going over all of our rental properties that we have, all of our flip projects that we have. And these guys got to get a hands-on look of, you know, what do these places look like when we first get them? What do they look like mid-renovation? What do they look like when they're all finished as well? And they're looking all pretty and they're ready to be rented or they're ready to be sold. So that's a lovely picture of us over there. So Nelson is our fearless leader. He is not here tonight. So I was joking with the other coaches before. I'm just going to talk about how awesome he is and how much I aspire to be like him. Well, this is a picture here with Patrick, and this is one of Nelson's students. He's got several students that he's working with right now. And you know, Nelson tonight, just so everyone knows, he's out spending time with his family, with his kids, and he's got some soccer commitments. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about real estate is, you know, you get your time back. You know, you might invest your time in the beginning, and everyone has to do that in order to be able to learn something, to be able to train an employee for it. But Nelson is now able to go out and enjoy all of those things that he wants to be able to do. So I know that Nelson's students have had a lot of success. I know that and another one of Nelson's students, they just recently purchased I believe it was a duplex in the West End. They got this thing for crazy, crazy cheap. You know, these guys are going to be fixing it up themselves. They are quite handy. And even after, you know, putting all that time and that money in, they're still able to refinance, pull out all the capital that they had into it. And plus they're going to get paid from the bank to be able to do that as well. And honestly, guys, real estate is the way to go. This is the only way that you're able to get paid by the bank in a significant amount of money for such a short period of time. So here we've got another picture of Nelson and his students. And so again, you know, Nelson will focus on anywhere from flips to rental properties. It all kind of depends on your goals and your strategies as far as that goes. And yeah, and I know Nelson is always looking for new students as well. That was one of the reasons that I came on board with Teammate, was to help because we had lots of people that were inquiring and just looking to learn their skills and just help take them to the next level. So here is a picture of us at one of our most recent acquisitions. So this is at a duplex in St. Boniface. And so this is a classic example of, if you are light and nimble on your feet, you can get a deal and you can scoop it up before anybody else gets it. So this was a duplex that actually was listed on the MLS. However, we got a bit of a tip because of our vast network of realtors that we know. We knew that this was coming up onto the market. So one of my acquisitions guys rushed down to take a look at this property. We figured out very quickly, you know, what is this thing worth right now? What is the renovation cost going to be? And then what is the ARV? What's the value at the end once we do all of those renovations? So suffice it to say, we were able to get in quick. We scooped this thing up, and then we scheduled the contractors to come in. I believe it was on a Wednesday. And then we had a notification from them saying, hey, they aren't able to start demoing the place. And so they asked us to get somebody else to do it for them. And so we couldn't get anybody. This was like Monday evening, by the way. So we couldn't get anybody to, you know, go do it ourselves. And I thought to myself, you know, this might be a cool kind of team bonding experience. So, you know, I got some of my employees, I got some of my students, and we all met at the property. And it was hilarious because it was literally 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. is when we demoed this place, because everyone else had like normal day jobs and whatever else. And plus, you don't want to interrupt the regular work day. And so we are literally like blasting like Drake and Travis Scott and all these like crazy like rap artists at 6 in the morning. And we're just throwing out all this garbage, all this junk. And people are kind of going outside their houses and looking at us. And by the way, when that happens, you have to make sure you go introduce yourself to the neighbors, because you always want to start off that relationship really well. I probably didn't start this relationship off well, but hopefully it ended okay by the end of it. But, you know, it was really fun. It's great to get in there and get dirty. You know, I actually did a post about this on social media saying, you know, it doesn't matter if you're the owner, the CEO, the president, or whatever fancy title you might have. At the end of the day, you have to be willing to do any job for any reason. And so this was actually a really fun experience. I got to share with my employees and with my students as well. And hey, you got to get dirty sometimes. You got to get in there. You got to figure things out. You have to learn things. And overall, it was a really fun time. So I snapped that picture of us probably after we crushed a Red Bull or two before we got started. So that was a lot of fun. And here we go. We have another nice picture here of Nelson with his student, Jabuzer. Hopefully I said that correctly. I know that Nelson was very, very excited to work with him. And what's really great is that every student that has come into Teammate all have different reasons why they want to do what they want to do. You know, it's not always about money. Sometimes it's about, you know, building something for your family, getting your time back. Sometimes it's about building something for yourself, whether that be a business or a real estate portfolio. So you see a lot of pictures of that, of all these student success stories. And the reason really why it happens is because people invested in themselves first. They made that decision to reach out to a company or organization such as Teammate to say, listen, I don't know how to do all of this, but I know that there are coaches out there, there are mentors that have done it and that are willing to train me. So, so it's really great to be able to see all the amazing success stories that our students have had.
So I think at this point, I believe Valen was going to have a legal update from Brendan. Valen, you want to turn your mic on there?
Yeah, actually, Brendan wasn't able to actually attend because he's doing some clientele work. But basically what he asked me to provide for him was an experience that one of our members have had with Brendan and his services, and to be more specific, that is myself. So I wanted to share an experience that I had with Brendan. It was the first time that we worked together, and overall it was something noteworthy that I'd really love to share, because you know, it's good to hear it from the horse's mouth, right? And someone actually share their testimony live. So I'll do just that. When I reached out to Brendan, I was looking for some escrow services dealing with a large scale commodities deal involving gold. And it was a bit complex, but Brendan managed to bring in the right people. And we sat around the boardroom and we delved deeper into what I needed. Brendan was able to tackle some assignments that I honestly thought that I would have to go to maybe even to the United States to have handled. But he was able to handle it all in-house. So that was really impressive for me. He drew up all the escrow agreements. There were some items that he didn't fully have on hand as far as how to solve it, but in a short amount of time, he was able to solve everything. And now we're well underway. Everything that I required legally of him was completed, and everything was signed for. It also involved private equity capital. So, all about raising capital. He was an expert with handling those needs for me. So I wanted to give that testimonial because, it's very rare where you get, legal counsel that's there for you on text, phone, and make themselves available in that manner, especially, even after business hours. Now, I'm not giving anyone permission to message them at, midnight or anything like that. But overall, he was there even after business hours, and I was impressed that he, even without me following up, he followed up with me. So I do highly recommend Brendan Mahatu for getting involved with any type of legal services, especially related to mortgages, capital raising, and real estate. So I hope you have some takeaways from that, and definitely get in touch with him if you are looking for legal counsel. So I'll hand it back to you, Keith. I think that will really do Brendan some justice for how good of a lawyer he really is.
Thank you, Valen. Okay, so we're going to head over to Dan Posner now from Trusted Financial, who's going to fill us all in on alternative financing. Take it away, Dan.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm I'm supposed to be meeting up with Brendan tomorrow for lunch, so I'll have to ask him about that those dealings. But no, Brendan's great. We've been trying to get together for some time now. I want to introduce myself to those who don't know who I am. My name is Dan Posner. I am the CEO and founder of Trusted Financial, and I want to, thank Valen and Keith for putting this together. I'm going to talk about a few things today. First, a little bit about myself and my company. Then I'm going to go into talking a little bit about the three parts of lending that I'm here to discuss today, which are alternative mortgage lenders, mix, so mortgage investment corps, and private lenders. So I want to also talk, before I close today, I want to talk about the process of applying for those loans, okay? And they're all very, very similar. They're pretty much exactly the same of what we need for each sector of those lenders. And after the info that I will provide today, I'm sure there'll be some information about how you can get a hold of me, and you could apply with me, or I'll answer any questions. I don't know if we're going to do some Q&A tonight. Is that the plan, Keith? We're going to do some Q&A with me?
Yeah, we do Q&A at the end of it, and questions actually for anybody on any subject, any of the coaches.
Okay. And if anyone needs to get a hold of me and my team of licensed brokers, will be happy to discuss anything in terms of lending with you. So let's go into a little bit about myself. First, keep that slide going, Keith, but I'll just talk about myself quick. So I'm born and raised in Winnipeg. I started out as an entrepreneur at age 22 when I started my first auto finance company. Our company had about 30 staff members. We ran that company, myself and a few partners, for about 5 years. Since then, I started 2 other auto finance companies. So I've been in the auto finance world for about 15, 16 years now. No, sorry, 14 years, I believe now. And the second company out of the 2 that I was just talking about, that was Trusted Financial. So we started with auto financing about 4 years ago. And since we started, we decided to diversify our business. So 2 years into Trusted Financial, we grew Trusted Financial from just auto financing itself to one of the most diverse financial companies in Canada today. So what I mean by diverse is that we will service consumers, corporations, and anyone looking to do anything in real estate. So consumer, corporate, and real estate. Oh, sorry guys, my son's here. Hold on 1 second. Let me get him upstairs. Sorry.
In the meantime, I'll I'll continue to go through the slide on the company itself. I'm sure everyone can read as well that the leadership team together has over 100 years of experience in the financial services industry across several industries. And as Dan was mentioning, of course, he started out in auto finance. And the advisors are coast to coast, all the way from Newfoundland to BC. And they've been handpicked based on their experience in the financial services sector. And their biggest criteria is, of course, the burning desire to create long-term relationships with clients. I've been carrying on without you there, Dan.
Back. I'm here. Sorry, I told my wife to hold on to my kid, but he got away from her. I apologize. So, going through what Keith just discussed, I want to discuss why you would choose us as Trusted Financial. So, you want to choose Trusted Financial and its group of advisors because of the proven track record that we have in the finance sector. We are friendly, honest, compassionate, and trusted. We are here for you and your business 24/7. And we have, like Keith said, we have brokers from St. John's all the way out to British Columbia and Vancouver and everywhere in between. So we try to service all of Canada. We do also service in the US, but Canada has been our main target audience. And in Winnipeg here, we have a number of brokers that can help each and every one of you. Our vision is to educate people in the financial literacy while saving people time and money, getting our customers what they want and giving people peace of mind for using professionals. I'm just going to read our mission statement here, you guys. To solve all financing needs, to gain trust and break down the barriers by understanding and overcoming the three things we know about customers. We know at the beginning, clients don't know us, they don't trust us, they don't like us, and they don't trust us. When you work with trusted financial advisors, the barriers come down very quickly, every step of the way. At the end of the process comes amazing trust and relationships. So what I mean by that is on any, let's say any phone call, the first thing that happens is that you don't know the person, right? When you start knowing the person, that's when you can start liking the person. And when you start liking the person, that's the only time you're going to be able to trust them. So we try to break down, and that's why we really called it Trusted Financial, because we want to earn the trust of our clients. That is the main purpose of our business dealings. And you could also see in one of the slides, if you go to the next one, about our commercial division and our consumer division. So our commercial division is very wide, from small and medium business loans down to investments, factoring, purchase order financing, commercial real estate. And on the consumer division side, that's where we started. We started with automotive financing. From there, we went into leisure financing, rec financing, marine financing, and then we got into personal loans and residential real estate mortgages. So like I said before, our team is coast to coast, and our team deals in the real estate sector for this meeting alone, but we also do corporate financing as well. So on the real estate side of things, we deal with traditional lenders, we deal with alternative lenders, we deal with mortgage, investment corps, and private lenders. So for for this video in this meeting, I want to go over the three that I spoke to about alternative lenders, mix, and private. Okay. So, can we put up the slide about the alternative lenders, Keith? There we go. So, you guys, I'm going to make things as easy as possible. I think that everyone that's on this this call understands what LTV stands for, loan to value, and different acronyms. So I just want to go what alternative lenders programs are all about. Okay. Alternative lenders, just like B lenders, they're wanting to see an LTV range of 65 to 80%. So loan to value, meaning how much the property is worth versus how much you have to put down to receive the loan. Interest rates will vary between 3.69 to 6%, all with a 1% lender fee that is added. Now, the broker, like us, like Trusted Financial, or anyone that is a part of our team, we would add another fee on top of that. Interest rates are going to be based on the client's credit score. Some alternative lenders will pay out consumer proposals if in the last year of the proposal. The total debt service ratio for a loan with alternative lending can go up to 50%. Okay, so that means how much you owe to different payments that you might have on your credit score versus how much the client makes every month. So they take all your payments, add all your payments up on your credit report, divide it by how much you make. If that score is lower than 50%, the alternative lenders will take a look at you. Okay. Where are we at here? Sometimes we can put a small second mortgage to make the LTV work. So if you're looking for 100% loan to value, if you don't have much of the money down, let's say, and you want to get a second mortgage on there to bump it up, we can do that with an alternative lender. We can do rental alternatives with alternative lenders, but there is a limit of 10 units. Unlimited depends on situations overall. So some lenders on the alternative side will do an unlimited amount of rentals, but some will only deal on about 10 units for a rental property. Okay. So that is the alternative side, you guys. Let's go over to the Mortgage Investment Corp lenders programs, the mix. So just reading off this line here, we have these will range in interest rates on the first mortgages of 6 to 9%. So now we're bumping up the rates a little bit when we go to the mix, you guys. The rates, and obviously the more of the larger rates are going to be on the private side. Okay. These rates will depend on the areas of where the mortgage investment corps are doing business in. So you got to also remember, if we're going to remote areas, let's say not in Winnipeg, Manitoba, outside, for example, Lockport, right? If we're going around Lockport's area, some of the lenders won't lend out there, but some of them will. So we have to find the right fit for you, the client, okay? The loan to value there is typically, again, 65 to 80%, okay? If the alternative lender declines the deal, the MIC would be the best option before we go to lending in the private sector. But there's so many MICs out there, you guys. I mean, there's thousands of them around Canada. There's lots here in Winnipeg as well. It's about finding the right fit for you, the investor, or you, the buyer, and fitting it where you are looking to purchase in Manitoba. Okay. Again, getting into the fees. The fees are going to be anywhere from 1% to 2%. And again, the broker can add a few percentage points on the fees as well. The total debt service is usually not an issue. Again, it depends on the particular lender, but the debt service when you're dealing with the mortgage investment corps is not nearly as effective as when you're dealing with the alternative lenders. The alternative lenders are very similar to traditional. Okay, very similar to traditional. A little bit higher rates, but very similar to what they're looking for. Mortgage investment corps and private lenders have much less red tape, and they're really looking for the buy. They're looking for the purchase versus the individual. And they just want to make sure the individual can pay back the loan. Okay. So number of rentals, no issue there. If you're going to do this, if you're looking for a loan for a rental property, there's no issues with a mortgage investment corps and how many rentals you're looking to do. So alternative side, yes, there might be a standard of maximum 10. Okay. On the mixed side, nothing. And again, you're going to see on the private side, there's not going to be any issues if you're looking to do rental properties. So let's go to private now. All right. Don't be afraid of these numbers. But these interest rates with our private mortgages will range of interest rates on your first mortgage between 8 to 18%. Now, I've never seen in my career doing this, I've never seen 18%. Okay, I've seen 10 on private. I've seen 11. I've seen 9. I've never seen 18. Not saying they're not out there, because every private lender has their own criteria. I've heard of 14% on private money. I just personally have not seen it. And if we need to go the private route, know that I'm dealing with, Trusted Financial is dealing with money at around the 9 to 10% range, okay? So don't be afraid of the 18 mark. We don't go there yet. Again, it depends on the area and where the private lender is doing business. Loan to value, again, exactly the same, 65 to 80% LTV. So this is basically saying that these lenders are looking for about 20% down to 35% down. Okay. 2 to 3% on the fees. And typically, you guys, when it comes to fees, the broker is going to match the fees of the lender. Okay. Typically. Us at Trusted Financial, that's what we would do. Our licensed brokers would just match the lender fees. Okay. And so there's some brokers out there that want to get paid a little bit more, but we decided that would be ideal. And I think that is on average what most brokers are doing. I can't speak for all of them though. The total debt service ratio, again, is usually not an issue. And again, it depends on the particular lender. Number of renters, rental units, no issues at all. So as we went through this, we can see the similarities, okay? Obviously, we want to start to give you guys and your students and everybody the best interest rates. We want to go with the lowest rates possible, which is traditional lending, right? We have as a group, we have about 65 different alternative lenders that are away from the top 6 banks in Canada. So as you know, you've been in the markets for some time. You're looking at RBC, Scotiabank, BMO, TD, and the credit unions, right? Those lenders, as we've seen, their interest rates have all dropped. So it's great for the buyers out there. But if you can't get those rates, or they're asking you to jump over some hurdles and there's red tape, there's absolutely nothing wrong if the ROI works, if your return on investment, if you know that the purchase of that property is going to earn you a nice return after the ARV. And remember, a lot of these lenders are doing loans at simple interest. So you're only paying interest for the term of your loan. And you could always refinance. So we'll do that. We'll we'll talk about that on another video maybe. I just want to get very basic and just the surface, okay, for now. So I want you to have a chance to take a look at the similarities and the differences. What we found was the major similarity was the LTV. The loan to value is going to be the same with all of them, okay? Interest rates, as you can see, alternative, the lowest, and private, the highest. But again, like I said, if your ROI works for you and that property is going to is going to profit at the end, it might be worth going to a private lender to get the deal done, okay? I want to talk about the process. Now, I was hoping there might be some more, how do I say it, rookie members on this call tonight, but we have some veterans. So everything I'm going to say right now, I'm sure you all know, but I want to make it clear about the process. So first step of any lender looking at the deal is your standard credit application, okay? In the credit application, it is going to include the type of mortgage that you're looking for, the property and the land information, source of your down payment, borrowers and guarantors information, so that's just your basic info, your employee information, where you work, how long you've been working there for, and what your monthly income is. And then they want to also see on the application your income versus your expenses, just like your assets versus your liabilities, okay? That's a standard credit application with every single one of these lenders. And after the call tonight, what we could do, Keith, is I have a standard application that I can send to you to add to everyone can see what the application looks like. And everyone can have a chance to grab it at any time. I mean, if that works. Again, secondly, what we're wanting to see to present to a lender is your offer to purchase, okay? The offer to purchase is very important. They want to see, the lenders want to see what they're looking at lending for. The appraisals are number 3. The appraisals are important as well. Some of the lenders want their own agents to go out and appraise the home to see what it's worth, okay? And but some of them, if it's a good appraiser that's been in the business for a long time, that is very well known, a lot of the lenders will take that appraisal and they'll keep that.
Out there, how would you like a real business where you could make one?
Oh, someone's off mute. Can you guys hear me still?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And last but not least, number 4 is the MLS, if it is on MLS or not. Some of the lenders will ask for the MLS report. If it's there, great. If not, that's still okay. Standard credit application, the offer to purchase, the appraisal, and the MLS listing, okay? So we went over the 3 available lending opportunities, and I want to say what I've been a part of most in my dealings with doing mortgages with our group is the private side. A lot of the clients that come to Trusted Financial have already gone to the bank. The bank has said no for whatever reason, and they need an alternative source, okay? The private side of lending has always been a go-to for me because they don't deal with the red tape. They want to deploy their capital into the market, right? If it fits what they're looking for, they're going to deploy. If the deal's right, the LTV, really what they're looking for is the LTV, you guys. That's the major thing. If the LTV is strong, enough where they feel that they're getting loan to value on their side, they're going to deploy their capital. Okay. So the private, I like to deal with as much as possible. The mortgage investment corporations, these guys are usually dealing in larger commercial units versus single family homes. So mostly what you're going to see with dealing with Trusted Financial will be the alternative lending, which we have 65 different alternative lenders out there in all provinces that can help, and the private. Those are going to be the most. We do have access to the mix, but like I said, the larger mix that we have access to are doing more on the development projects, the construction projects. We do have one opportunity now with a specific fund that's looking to deal in big development, minimum of $15 million and up, Canada-wide. But for what we're looking at here with I believe with Team Made Real Estate would be the single family homes or the duplexes, right? Or the 3 to 6 door range in terms of multifamily. And for that market, we can absolutely help get you the funding that you're looking for. So I'm sorry that my son kind of stuttered me as I was going along, and I got flustered here, but I think I was able to get everything, all the information to you guys, at least the surface of it. If anybody has any questions and wants to go through a deal with me, definitely call one of us. I'm the CEO and founder of the company. Gord Davis is our go-to mortgage broker. He's been in the industry for about 25 years. We also have Chris McKenzie, who's been around for about 30 years himself. So these guys, just over 50 years experience in the real estate, both commercial and residential side. And they'd love to chat and do business. So thank you guys very, very much for letting me share tonight. And I look forward to working with every one of you. Thanks.
Hey, thank you, Dan. Dan, I think there's a few questions I got, and I want to ask you that. I'm going to read them out to you if you have a chance. While it's all fresh. The first one is Trusted Financial licensed to do business across Canada?
Absolutely. The answer is yes. Yes, we are. Our brokers, we have different brokers in Alberta, Ontario, here in Winnipeg, and the ones that we have are Canadian license to go Canada-wide.
Okay. If there are any other questions, feel free. Well, there's going to be a question period at the end as well. But if there are any other questions, feel free to drop them in as Dan is ready to take them on. As we wait for those, why don't we jump on in, and then we'll come back to the question period here. So why do some people win? So if we take a subsegment of the general population and we study the segment of, say, champions, leaders, successful entrepreneurs, I ask, what do you think they all have in common? I would say they're all hustlers, number one. And what I mean by that is they don't wait for things to be handed to them. They go out and get what they want. So regardless of what society has told them, or what some story they've heard from a friend, they get what they really want. The second one of why they're winners is their commitment to the end result. So they know what brings them closer to the end result, and they know what takes them further away from their vision. So when they make decisions, they're able to consciously think, is this a decision that's going to make me closer to the end result or further from my end result? All these winners are education focused in the sense that readers are leaders and learners are earners. I want to leave with one piece of advice. It's going to be to surround yourself with the people you want to become. I know you may have heard this before, but I really truly believe this one. And I applaud you all for coming out to this evening, to this event, as this is an indication that you're taking action, you're making change, you want to better yourself. And I like that. Yeah, let's go ahead to the next one, Keith. So, as I was mentioning before about our academy, we've got different levels of education. And we can kind of line them up here on the screen here. You can see the silver is kind of like your bachelor's, gold is like your master's, and your platinum's like equivalent to your PhD level of depth of knowledge within the real estate profession. We also offer a 365 bronze membership. With all of our programs, again, they're all deal guaranteed assured. We guarantee you get your deals done. It's one-on-one and sometimes two-on-one with two coaches in one mentorship style. It's not a catch and release, so we stick with you. So even if it's one deal, you do your second, your third, your fourth. There's no limit to how much access you have. So if any questions on these, feel free to drop an email to any of the coaches, and they'd be more than happy to, if this is something you're interested in, we can further chat about that. So when you join the Teammate Real Estate Academy, you're gonna get a depth of knowledge. But are you going to be able to find a deal? Absolutely. Are you gonna learn how to find money? Yeah, as we just heard from Dan, he's there to help us as well. We're gonna learn how to negotiate the price. You're gonna learn OTPs, how to write offers, learn where and how to get that money. Then you're going to figure out how to come up with that ARV, that rental value, how to manage that renovation project. You're going to learn the skill sets to being a business owner, a landlord, a property manager. You're going to learn how to refinance it, maybe do a joint venture, find ways to minimize taxes and do it tax-free legally. You also find ways to retire from your job to fulfill the passions that you like. And my passion is traveling. I think, and that's something that why I'm passionate about real estate is so that I can further my passion in traveling. So does it cost money? Yeah, it's going to cost a little bit. But also with that deal assurance, you get a lot of your return back. Well, you have to do work. 100%. I'm not going to lie, sugarcoat it. You're going to have to work. You're going to have to grind. You're going to have to be put outside of your comfort zone. If you look back at that, let's say 3 slides ago when I talked about the most successful people, we don't need to go back though. But when I talked about the most successful people, I am 100% confident every one of these successful individuals has put themselves outside of the comfort zone. You cannot learn and grow unless you put yourself outside that comfort zone. Find opportunities and chances where you can be outside what you're comfortable to really grow. And then once you grow, do it again. Do it again. You're not done. There's no done state in education. It's the last point there was, will you get your first deal done? Yes, you will. So the emails and phone numbers of the coaches are on the next slide. Feel free to reach out to any of these certified coaches to book a strategy session. I do stress there's no pressure in these strategy sessions. In fact, I encourage you to come with a list of questions that you want to have answered so you can get what you need to be successful in your career. It's your decisions that you need to make to propel your growth. So use us to help yourself. What's next? Again, put yourself outside that comfort zone. Learn something new. 2020 is came and it's here, but it's not a write-off. Don't use COVID as an excuse. Use it as an opportunity. I've personally found deals. Many coaches and students have found deals during the COVID period. Don't write it off. Use it as a chance to propel your growth. When you say 5-10 years down the road, someone's going to say, remember that 1 year COVID came? What were you doing during that year? Have an answer. Have something that you achieved out of that year. Set yourself apart from the others. By taking action, just taking a look at how things compound on each other. So say you spend an hour a day reading or learning about or studying a course material. That's 1 day a week. That's 4 days. That compounds to 4 days a month. That's 52 days a year. That's almost 2 months that you have every year that you could use by spending just 1 hour a day. So make an offer a month. Go check out a few properties a week. Check out 2-3 in a weekend. Do one deal next year. There's a lot of opportunities to take action and opportunities to put yourself outside that comfort zone. So some actionable steps to remember your goals for 2020. It helps writing them down on a cue card or a piece of paper, something that you're always referencing so you can remind yourself. I personally write them down, and I find myself I'm more accountable to them than they're physically written down. And not even on the iPhone, but physically written down on a piece of paper. Only you create your future. So no one's gonna push you outside into that zone of growth and development until you make the decision to. Book a strategy session. Come see what some goals, realistic goals are. See what's out there, different investing strategies. Take charge of tomorrow. Our next meeting will be on the last Monday of next month, which is August 24th. Let's open up the floor to I'm going to check the chat for some Q&A, see what's going on here. This is a good chance to ask any of the coaches, Dan, Garrett, Vern, Keith, Raylan, any of us some questions here. We have some time.
I know I had some questions for Dan there that I did put in the chat.
Why don't you start, break the ice and just start drilling down with some questions?
Sure. Okay. Here we go, Dan. Hard, fast pitch on the inside. With the mix, do they accept any type of second mortgage that gets registered after the fact? Like I know a lot of our coaches and students here like to do RSP second mortgages to get their capital back so that then they can then use it as down payment for the next property. Is that permitted?
Yeah, I've seen that with the privates and some of the mix here in Winnipeg. But what I'm going to do, I saw that question in the questionnaire in the chat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk with Gord about that, what he's seeing as well. And I'm going to get back to you guys about that answer. But for now, I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes, they do, especially on the private side. But I want to look in. I want to look in to the mix themselves a little bit more before I'm confirming that.
Okay, great. Thank you. The next question I had was again with the mix. What sort of like term and amortization are we looking at here with them? I mean, are they doing 25-year amortization?
But the mixer, they're basically looking at the simple interest right now, right? So the 12 months simple interest after 12 months to refinance. The amortization is typically about 20 right now, not 25.
Okay. I was just thinking in terms of like if it was like a longer term rental where you were holding it for a period of time where, you know, you might be getting into holding it for a while, but you are paying not just interest, but also principal. So. Right. Okay. And then I guess the last question I had here was pertaining again to mix. Do they allow for like flippers, folks that want to do something short term, like
the short term? Absolutely.
6 to 24 months. Cause I know that
yes.
the mix from looking at everything you've presented tonight, they would be the cheapest route to go for a flipper. They would be, because your conventional big banks will not allow you to flip, or rather you do it a couple of times and you get blackballed. And then your B lenders are also not going to let you do that. So mix seem to be the cheapest route for someone that wants to flip, cheaper than going private, for instance.
I would agree. Absolutely. I mean, like I said, on the private side, we're finding the loans at around the 10 to 9 to 11% mark. The mix are going to be a little bit cheaper. So that would be, if they're going to lend in the areas that we're looking for, absolutely. But they're doing short-term loans on the flipping side right now.
Okay, and when you say areas, does that mean that they, for instance, would have a red zone in the the hood sort of thing?
Yes, there's definitely. I've had situations where the area itself they're just not interested in, like the street, for example, or the remote part of Winnipeg. But in the Winnipeg area, like the the core area of the city, depending on exactly, I'll give you an example. I had a deal that went sour because they didn't like Elfridge Street, but that's just one of them. There's other opportunities where we can find more. Some of the mix just don't like going to, as you said, the hood, but the private guys, they'll go there.
Yeah, and then I guess as you and I actually talked about places that are just too far outside of Winnipeg, like my friend that was buying that house in Emerson, and he did manage to actually buy it using. I actually took Dan's advice, and we got him financed out of the credit union, and that's actually in Emerson because the private guys, it was all too far away. Nobody wanted to drive like an hour there and an hour back to look at a property.
Yeah, in those types of situations, if you have decent credit and you can go to your local credit union, they're the ones that are going to jump on the mortgage before, say, a MIC or a private lender would. But there's a situation now where we're dealing in Lockport, for example, and there's an opportunity there.
That would be me, right?
That would be you, yeah. And we've gone to a private lender that is going to be in that 7 to 8% mark. So very close to a MIC. But that's because we're not going too far outside of Winnipeg, right? That's still on the cusp. We're talking, Selkirk, Steinbach, Lockport. Yes, Lockport itself has
Oak Bank, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Where people are like, they're basically just slipping outside the tax burden of being a city of Winnipeg person.
Right. Now it's a smaller population, right? But that population is so close to the larger populations that the private lenders and the mix, they will lend out there very easily. Yeah.
Okay, and we did have another question here. Rob had asked, Dan, maybe worth talking about some private lending for short-term stuff like flips and the buy, renovate, rent, refinance sort of things. I know that you and I have been, some of my questions pertain to that as well. But I guess maybe if you just wanted to even expand on that for speaking specifically about the private lending side of things, maybe just educate some of the folks about sort of if MICs are cheaper than private lending, why would they go private lending?
On the private side, for the freedom, the freedom of not having to go through some of the red tape that some of the MICs would have. So I'll give you a quick example on the private side here. A typical flipping property, assuming, let's just say it's $200,000, okay? And the purchase price, $200,000 is the purchase price, and $50K would be the reno budget. Our lenders would lend up to 150 or 160, 75 to 80% loan to value at the time of purchase, okay? Then one final draw of X amount would be based on the post reno value, so the ARV, and that could exceed $50K possibly to get your money out. So for max, that would be max of 70 to 80% loan to value, depending on the area. Their rates are going to be, like I said before, with the private, anywhere between the 8 to 11 to 18. But what I'm seeing is 8 to 11% with a fee of 1.5%, which is open after 3 months. So the faster that reno gets done, after 3 months, you're not paying interest anymore if you can pay it off. We're doing open loans too, which is great, right? So that type of flipping and how you can get draws with the private lenders to do your renovation and then refinance with them after the entire amount, which the appraised value is obviously much higher. Did you guys get that?
Yeah, good answer.
Yes, thank you.
That was just an example that I just got on my screen from one of our private lenders that we're doing a deal with right now.
Okay, let's see. Did we have any questions in the Q&A section?
Nothing here, no, nothing yet. Anybody got any questions? Have any questions?
So we'll throw it
Leslie,
out to the
anybody?
attendees there. Just throw something in the chat or the Q&A box.
Yeah.
Do we have all on this chat right now? Is it all coaches and full members of Teammate that are here right now? Anyone new?
There are new folks that are on here tonight.
Yeah, there are some new ones.
Okay.
Yeah. So remember that there's really no dumb questions. If you had a question about terminology, right? LTV, loan to value, ARV, after repaired value, what a house would be worth after you've done the repairs necessary to get it to a saleable condition.
Yeah. Just while we're waiting for any questions to pop up, Dan, how easy is it to negotiate the cost of the appraisals? If I'm going to give somebody a mortgage for 20 or 25 years, I feel like they should be paying for the appraisal.
Good question. I like the idea. I haven't seen that. My the lenders that I've dealt with will find the appraiser if needed, but they're not paying for it. They're not paying for that. You know, what is a typical appraisal now? Around the 400 mark? Would you say?
It'd be a real shame for them to lose a 20-year mortgage for $400.
See, Vern's a master negotiator.
I'll bring that up in the next board meeting.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Any questions?
That's a good point, though. You know, Vern, that's a really good point. I agree. You know, that's maybe something that the broker could help with. You know, something that Trusted Financial could help with. Not necessarily the lender, because at the end of the day, the lenders, their mindset is there's always another deal out there.
Oh yeah.
Right. And the broker's mindset is I want to do your deal.
Yeah.
So, and that's my mindset, right? I want to do as much business as I possibly can for everyone. So, yeah, that's something that we should discuss for sure.
Okay, we have a question here from Dan Bush. Says, if approaching a private investor for financing, what kind of info do I need in my elevator speech?
Elevator speech. So just, you know, the credit application that you can find through myself and my team at Trusted. Again, the offer to purchase. So you want to come with that offer to purchase. That's big. You don't want to talk to any lender without an OTP. Okay.
Yeah.
And then from there, the appraised value of the home and perhaps the MLS. Now remember, the lender's going to lend on what's less, either the offer to purchase or the appraisal. So typically they're going to lend on what's less at that point in time, right? So the offer to purchase is the biggest. I mean, the story, they're not interested in the story. They want to see the facts, right? They want to see what's on paper, what your assets are, what your income stream is. Can you pay back the loan? And, you know, they're, like I said, they're lending on loan to value. So if loan to value works in the area, they're going to loan the money.
Yeah. Okay. I hope that helps you, Dan. If it doesn't, email me. I've got a lot of strategies for walking and talking and a lot of elevator pitches. And I do a lot of networking that way. So get a hold of me. Vern Bird. You can see my email on the screen there, and I'll touch base.
Yeah,
with
and
you.
also Dan, we can go into it together. Like as the
Yep.
broker on on the deal and my team, we will put together. We'll underwrite the deal. We'll put together the as you said, the elevator pitch, but more of just the situation that the lender wants to look for. And we can go into it together, not you on your own. We'll always be holding hands to get you the loan together. We're a team.
Okay, I think we're going to turn it back to Vishal. I don't see any other questions coming up, so we'll let you wrap up. Just before we do that, Vishal, I just want to thank you very much, Dan. You're bringing a lot of expertise to the table. And I also want to congratulate and welcome our two new coaches, Garrett Fraze and Vishal Guliani, to the team. And you've sparked some real good interest, and we've got some new prodigies working steady and prospering. One of the things that I do want to stress to everyone, now is the time. This COVID has knocked everybody on their butt. It has. We've all learned a lot of new strategies, and we're all getting hungry. Now's the time to go to work. We're going to see some changes. I'm seeing it in the US right now. As you know, I'm active in several states, and I'm seeing down there a huge increase in foreclosures. They haven't hit here too much yet, but perhaps, Dan, have you noticed any uprise in foreclosures right now?
In the U.S.?
No, here.
Or here? No, not yet. Not yet. No.
Okay, it's a little early, I think.
Yeah.
I would expect we wouldn't know about that till about October, November. And that may happen. And if it happens here, it's going to create a huge opportunity, as it's going to create in the US right now. So there are opportunities coming. We just need to get ready for it. So anybody who's new, get on board, learn the skills and strategies. We've got some top-notch coaches with us right here in Winnipeg. Thank you, Vishal. Back to you.
Hey, thank you, Vern. Thanks, Vern. So again, here's all emails of the certified coaches. Our next meeting is going to be August 24th. I just want to say thank you, Keith, for doing the tech. Thank you, Vern, Garrett, Dan, for filling us in on the financing stuff, and Valen there for filling in for Brendan. Thank you, everyone.
Yep.
Signing off.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Good
Have
night.
yourself a great evening.
Take care.